it's go time. Before we get into today's video, I just want to say a few years ago, I uploaded a video called Tinder vs. Bumble, similar to this video. The thumbnail looks like this. The link is in the description if you guys want to check it out. What is going on, everyone? My name is Mike, and you guys are watching Sperando. Welcome back to another video, guys. If this is your first time seeing any of my videos before, I need you guys to do me a huge favor. Give this video a big thumbs up, and more importantly, hit that red subscribe button right below this video, because almost 100% of y'all are not subscribed. If you're watching this right now, it'll take a couple seconds. Just hit that red button. I'll be happy. You'll be satisfied because you'll be getting my notifications for my future uploads. It's a win-win situation. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I made a video similar to this a couple years ago called Tinder vs. Bumble, and I think it has close to 40,000 views. I don't know how. It blew up out of nowhere. I'm no expert on this stuff. I'm just giving my opinions and thoughts. But I was like, yo, if that blew up, why can't I help other people with other dating sites? So in this video, we're going to be talking about Bumble versus Hinge. Hinge has came onto the dating scene, and it's full throttle, been very successful, and I do want to tell you guys about it in this video. But before we compare Bumble and Hinge, I do need you guys, like I said, give this video a big thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button. Please help me out. I would really appreciate it. Alright, so we're gonna start off with Bumble right now. So as you guys know, this is what Bumble looks like. If you are not familiar with Bumble, to just summarize like what it's all about, Bumble is another dating app similar to Tinder, but I personally think it's better than Tinder. Bumble is a dating app where you swipe left and right, just like you do on Tinder. But the one catch is, if you match with a girl, or whoever the person is, they have to message you first. And I think that is super important in today's world, because if you are looking for a relationship, you don't want to force something like it is on Tinder. Like, hey, specifically, let's just say I match with a girl, right? On Tinder, I can just be like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. I saw this on your profile, blah, blah, blah. But on Bumble, you got to wait for the girl to respond. So either she's super interested and she's going to hit you up and say, yo, what's going on? Or she's gonna leave you in the dust. So you got two options on Bumble. So now summarizing what Hinge is all about. Hinge looks like this if you guys are not familiar with it. Hinge is a newer dating app. I don't know specifically what year it came out, but to summarize it, it is an application where it's a dating app, and it's similar to Bumble, but here's the one thing. Hinge, the one thing that stands out about that app in particular is, yes, you do have your profile pictures. People can see several photos of you. You do have your bio / description, whatever you want to call it. But in the app, they do something that's very smart. They want to find out more about you to tell the other person more about you. So both people have a better understanding about the person before they talk to them. And let me explain that. So to give you an example, if you're looking at my Hinge profile, you're going to see obviously my name, my profile picture, my bio, but then there's going to be questions. And now as the user, I'm allowed to select the questions that I want to answer. So Hinge gives you a list of, I think, between 20 and 40 different questions that you could pick from my favorite TV show is, and you finish that line, or I don't know, if I could travel anywhere in the world, it would be, and you could like give your explanation or your response. They ask you questions, and you have to put, I think, a minimum of 3 of them on your profile. I think you could add, I don't know how many you could add, but I know it's a minimum of 3. So, but I guess where I'm trying to get at is Hinge is profile pictures, bio, and then questions about yourself that you're answering, which I think is super important, because you want to find out more about that person before you actually before you actually like talk to them. And the way that Hinge works is it's not a left or right swipe scenario like Tinder and Bumble. Rather on Hinge, you could either heart, like give a heart to one of their pictures, their bio. Actually, you can't heart their bio. You could either heart their pictures, or you could heart one of their questions, and you could actually respond to either their pictures or their question, which is super dope. So that's the one thing I really do like about Hinge, though, because instead of just saying, hey, I like this person by swiping left or right, or waiting for that person to respond to you, such as on Bumble, you could heart something on their profile and go in depth about it and start a conversation from there. So it's not just you saying like, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? It's more so like going in depth about something they particularly like or are interested in, or something that you're particularly interested in. And it's just a good way to start a conversation, because a lot of people on dating apps don't know how to talk to each other, as ridiculous as that sounds. But Hinge does a good job at using that as an icebreaker and starting the conversation. I think it's super dope, and it helps out a lot. All right, so I want to give you guys my 2 cents about which one I think is better, obviously, Bumble or Hinge, which one I think you should spend more time on, Bumble or Hinge, all that juicy stuff. But before I do, I just want to say, in the previous video where I did Bumble or Tinder versus Bumble, I did the same exact thing I'm about to do, which one I think is better, why I think they're better, the pros and cons, which you guys, again, could find that video in the description box below. Bumble versus Hinge. Now, I did the same exact thing that I'm about to do in the previous video, my Tinder versus Bumble video, again, that you guys could find in the card on screen or in the description box below. I'm going to list the pros and cons of each app, and do I think that you should be on it. So we're going to start with Bumble. And okay, so the pros about Bumble. I think Bumble has a lot of pros, to be honest with you. For starters, yes, it is a good app to leave it in the other person's hands. So if you are awkward in a conversation, or you don't know how to start a conversation, you're ultimately leaving it up to the person that you match with. And I really like that about Bumble. So, like, personally, I used to be a very awkward person. I kind of still am, but I'm growing out of it. And when I would match with somebody on these apps, specifically Bumble, I wouldn't know what to say. But then I saw that the girl had 24 hours to respond, and I was like, oh, this is dope. Like, she's got to type first. And either they would just say hey, or they would ask me a question or something about my profile to get the conversation started, and then I would have to respond to that. I would have another 24 hours. So I think that's dope. A con about Bumble, I think, is, again, that 24-hour period. So if I match with somebody, right, they only have 24 hours to respond to that, and if they don't, it's canceled. Like, they go back into the queue, or whatever it's called. Like, they're out of your feed. I think that's a disadvantage, because you also got to think, people aren't living on these apps. People have lives, people are doing other things. So if I match with you and you don't see it for 24 hours and you end up going on in 48 hours, our conversation's gone. You can see that you matched with me, but we can't talk. So I do think that is the con about Bumble. Overall, I think that Bumble is a good app to start on if you are looking for more of a conversation to start. I think Hinge is the way to go, and I'll explain that in a second, but I think Bumble is a good starting point. Do I think now Bumble is better than Tinder? 100%. I think anything, honestly, is better than Tinder. But Bumble is very good if you are awkward, or you are looking for that other person to start the conversation before you do. So that's my 2 cents on Bumble. So now switching over to Hinge on the other side. So the pros about Hinge is you have the questions on your profile, and I think that's such a big pro, because you get to get a little glimpse about what the person likes and enjoys instead of just reading it in their bio. And you get to see, like, a little bit of their personality when they answer these questions. Some people answer them really honestly, some people answer them goofy, and you get to see and gauge, like, what kind of person they are before you talk to them. And I think that's super dope. You could heart things. So, like, if somebody said, like, oh, like, somewhere I want to travel soon is Miami, if you want to go to Miami too, you could give that comment or that question response a heart, and you could reply to that, which is super dope. And I think that Hinge is the way to go right now. I think that it has the most leverage. It does. I think, though, Hinge does take the longest to match with somebody. But when you do match with that person, you know that it's going to be a true connection versus this left-right swipe on Bumble. And I think that's where Hinge has another advantage. Now, a con about Hinge that I don't like, I actually have to think about that. I don't know what I don't like about Hinge. I really can't give you an answer. I don't know what I don't like about this app. Oh, you know what? I was just thinking about this. Another pro about Hinge too is, without getting the premium version, you could still go into more specific details that Tinder and Bumble have never been able to let you do. Such as, like, you could select, and I actually have this on my Hinge profile, you could select what ethnicities you are interested in. And I think that is so key, because it puts all the other ethnicities, like, not in your feed. You could do ethnicity, and you could write, like, it says, is this a deal breaker? So if you write yes, it will literally only show you those ethnicities. If you write no, those ethnicities you chose, they will favor them over the other ones, but they will still show the other ones. So I think that is a pro, because even if you are interested in a certain ethnicity, you could filter it out, which is really dope, and you don't have to pay for it. It's in the free version. I guess if I had to say a con, the only con that I would have to say about Hinge is, like, I feel like the girls take a lot longer to answer on it. That may just be me, but I just feel like they take a lot longer to answer. Yeah, that's about it. The app's really dope. I do recommend it. If I had to choose one over Bumble or Hinge, if you wanted to just get one of them, I would recommend Hinge. I think that is the way to go. It is going to be a lot more selective, but the people you do match with and talk to and interact with, I feel like the connection is going to be a lot stronger. Where Bumble, you will match with more people, but I don't know how long the conversation will really go on, if that helps at all. Alright everyone, that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please give this video a big thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button right below this video. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns about anything I said regarding Bumble or Hinge, please let me know in the comments box below, and the second I see it, I will respond ASAP and give you a thoughtful response. If you want to check out the first video I made, Tinder versus Bumble, please hit the card on screen or go to the link in the description box below. I will see you guys in my next video, and until then, I am out. I'm going to end it like I've been ending it, because you know what? You guys like it. I can't stand it, but anything to make y'all happy. Sperando!